Hello. Some years ago, my family and I went on a holiday to the Lake District. While we were there, we couldn't miss the opportunity to climb to the top of Scarfell Pike, as you can see in the picture. And it is some climb. The children were a bit younger then, as you can see, and there were many grumbles and complaints of, "Are we there yet? Can we go home now?" before we got to the top. However, when we got there, we were rewarded with the most fantastic views of the land below. You feel like you're on top of the world. Many important events in the Bible happen on top of a mountain. Think about Moses receiving the Ten Commandments from God on the top of Mount Sinai, or Jesus delivering his Sermon on the Mount. And this week, remember the time when Jesus was transfigured before his friends Peter, James, and John. They had an amazing experience of Jesus on the mountaintop, where he was transfigured before them. His clothes became dazzling white, as bright as a flash of lightning. And Moses and Elijah are seen, from centuries before, talking with Jesus. Peter, James, and John see all this happening. And Peter, who is so staggered at what is happening, wants to capture the moment and hold on to it forever. A bit like we want to do when we take photographs. He wants to put up shelters for them, as if to hold on to them forever. But before he realizes, a cloud comes down and a voice says to them, "This is my son whom I have chosen. Listen to him." And before they know it, it is gone, and Jesus is alone. It is a strange and mysterious event, which mystifies the disciples so much that they can't speak about it afterwards. This is the point in Luke's Gospel where from now on Jesus turns his face towards his journey to Jerusalem. He receives this wonderful affirmation from God, the words which confirm him as God's Son and his chosen one. It is this incredible event which sets Jesus up for the last events of his life on earth. It also clarifies for the disciples who Jesus is. They never forgot the event of that day. I wonder if you have ever had an experience of God which has helped you in your faith. Perhaps it's a strong sense of God's presence while out in nature, or on a mountaintop, or overlooking the sea, or looking out on another wonderful view. Or perhaps it's the feeling of love towards a newborn baby, or the presence of God in worship when your spirit is uplifted. When we have moments like that, it's tempting to want to hold on to them, like Peter wanted to do, to want to make them last forever, or to hark back to it like a golden era, after which nothing has been the same. Sometimes I believe God gives us these glimpses of his glory to set us up for the future, to give us something of himself to hold on to for those times in our lives when it's not going to be easy. And of course, it wasn't going to be easy for Jesus. He was about to go through betrayal by his friends, arrest and a sham trial, a painful and humiliating death, abandoned by his friends. It was this, the knowledge of his mission on earth, which kept him firm and faithful to God, even when he was going through the most painful time in his life. And this can be true for us too. The glimpses of God which we may have experienced in our lives give us courage and hope as we go through difficult times too. They help us grow in our faith, our knowledge and love for God. They keep us strong and firm in our faith when everything else seems to be falling apart around us. This all seems very relevant for us today as we face an uncertain future, as we've all had to make changes to our lives without knowing when they might return to any sort of normality. Some of us too have had to suffer loss and pain, not being able to meet with our friends or families. We may have known the suffering or loss of loved ones, or the loss of our jobs and security. So I encourage us to remember and give thanks for the glimpses we have seen of God's glory, to hold on to them and allow them to help us keep us strong and firm in our faith, and to be open to possibilities for the future. We are urged to listen to the voice of God in our lives and to keep close to Jesus, the chosen one, the one who died and rose again, so that we can have peace and security in the one true God. Let us pray. Father in heaven, whose Son, Jesus Christ, was wonderfully transfigured before chosen witnesses upon the holy mountain, and spoke of the exodus he would accomplish at Jerusalem. Give us strength so to hear his voice and bear our cross, that in the world to come we may see him as he is. Amen.